Really,
never worked with me.
It was
She's
not
never,
a real thing.
no.
But keep in mind, like, had I listened to everyone else and just treated her like shit or something, I would have never gotten to know her.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have been able to. I would have won you over on the bed.
Shut the fuck up.
Hi guys, welcome back to Scream Queen Stream. We're your hosts. I'm Jessica Cameron.
And I'm Heather Dorff.
And what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to do a how we met.
Right. So one of the most popular questions that we get asked all the effing time, even though if you Google it, you will find out the answer to this. So spoiler alert, we're going to tell it to you again in more depth. So Heather Dorff, kick it off. How did we meet?
Okay. Why do I always gotta kick off these?
Because you got like all the thugs. You could be like, let's bring it back.
Aladdin it. Okay, so first and foremost, when I was coming up in like whatever, when I was starting to pay attention to the indie horror scene, at the time, well, and still now, but at the time, Jess, was kind of everywhere, practically through self-promotion. She was like, I am here if you need to hire me. Also, keep in mind, we were both in the Midwest. She was in Ohio at the time, and I was in Chicago, so we weren't that far apart. So it's not uncommon, or it's not that big, big of a surprise that I would know who she was. We were working with a lot of the same people, trying to get a lot of the same auditions, that sort of thing. Or at least in the same films, not for the same role per se, but in the same films. So I'd heard of her and stuff, and she had actually randomly applied for one of my short film roles. Well, or she didn't even apply. That's not even the right word. She just, when I created the film, when I created the film page, she just randomly messaged me and was like, if you have a role that meets my requirements, I would love to audition, which we didn't. And even if we did, I knew I couldn't afford her, that kind of thing. So I just left it alone. And then later though, just because I had seen her a lot and seen her in some roles and some of her pictures, I had messaged her and asked her about like what makeup and like skin regimen she used, because as you can see, she takes really good care of herself and she always looks great on camera, and I was curious, and she gave me some like, simple tips. But at the time, it's funny, now I know her, so now I know she wasn't lying. But then I thought she was absolutely lying, because she put so many like drugstore basic shit, and I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. You're not using like CoverGirl shit and looking like that. But to be fair, she also has really good skin naturally, so certain things work for her that aren't gonna work for everyone. So don't feel bad, guys. It ain't gonna work for you if you have acne-prone, oily ass skin. She has good skin, so she can go with basic.
Take care of the skin.
Even if you do,
and again, I didn't really do much then. I do a lot now, but I did.
Even now, I still consider you do more of the what I think is natural for people in our. But even then, no, not everyone is blessed with immaculate skin. Okay, so that being said, how we actually ended up really meeting, because I don't consider online messages actually meeting. I got signed on for a role in a feature film that was shooting in Florida, and got signed on, and then they let me know she was signed on as well. And at the time, I had already had my run-ins with her through the like cold messaging, posting everywhere that please, let me audition for your film thing. But also, and I've learned the lesson now, but at the time I was very new. Of course, another female indie actress I worked with said how like much of a diva she is, and how mean she is, and how she runs over all the people and all these kind of things. And they were like,
I don't, but I also don't stop for you either.
Sure. But they basically made her out to be a goddamn devil. And that
woman would hire me like a year later.
Of course they will. But here's the thing: at the end of the day, women are very catty, period. But especially in film, they're extraordinarily catty, and I've learned that. I know that anyways, but I definitely learned the lesson now. You can't judge anyone based on someone else's opinion. You do have to form your own. It's not fair. Like, if you have maybe a best friend who has been jaded by someone, that's maybe a different story. You'll back them up a little bit more, but just random acquaintances, people you hear, you can't take anything at face value. You do need to make your own judgment in this industry.
No, I still think you need to hear what everybody has to say.
That's what I'm saying.
And also like ask the question to be like, well, what did she do to you?
Well, and
or what was like the actual, like also, what actually happened?
If you hear something bad too, and let's say they do say something crazy, okay, get more than one opinion and see if like everyone has a very similar story of how crazy this person is, because then that's more believable. If 20 people are saying this person is a nut, they cause me issues, then the chances are.
But also ask stories. Like, I guarantee you, if you're like, when was she a diva? Nobody can say any legitimate set that I was on in which I was a diva. It just doesn't exist.
What did she do? So, how was she a diva?
How? Oh, well, so and so said that. Well, that's not an answer. Now,
or
is it?
Even
or
then,
not a
like,
good one.
You'd be surprised sometimes to be like, well, she required 8 hours of sleep. It's like, That's not unreasonable.
And that's clearly not me. I
know she doesn't, but I'm just saying I've literally heard that as a goddamn excuse as to why someone was a diva. I'm like, I think, like, some people can't function, or, you know, she said she wanted an actual makeup artist on set. It's like, honestly, that's not a lot to ask. Like, you look like shit if you're not taken care of on set with makeup. I'm not saying you have to spend $4,000 on makeup artists, no, but have someone who can at least check my makeup.
But also, too, like, I go to more of, like, is this coming from your hand experience, or is it coming from 3 other people?
Is it coming from the whole? Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, again, it's one thing to be like, she's a diva. Okay, did you work with her?
Why? Yeah, like, what
Where
happened?
is this coming from?
Right.
Because, again, if it's coming from hearsay, and a lot of the time, like, the people that, if you trace back a lot of their who they say I was diva, it was either I was treated so badly on a set. There's a couple sets that I don't talk about publicly because I was treated so badly, either like we were sexually harassed, and I say we because it's not usually just one actor, it's usually multiple of us, or something else happened. And if you sexually harass me or my coworkers, you are right, I will tell you to stop. Right. And again, like, it's really simple for, like, the people involved to be like, oh, she's a diva because she didn't want me to call her titty. I'm like, no, that's just human decency. Actually, you jackass.
Yeah, right.
Call me by my name, or hey girl, or you actress.
Or just anything.
Anything other than
a body part.
Right. So I've heard that a lot too, like that, or else also, like, there's times where people are like, I want you for this movie, and then you go through the process and they're like, hey, it's no pay, it's no budget, and I'm like, hey, I really respect that. Keep in mind, I do low budget, but there's a difference between no pay, no budget, and low budget, in my opinion. And also, like, for me, if I'm going to do anything where I cut my rates, I better be damn sure that you are really going to try your fucking hardest to not only complete it, but it's going to not look like a low-budget movie. You know, it's got to be really something I'm going to be proud of, or else it's just not worth my time. So I do politely decline when they're like, hey, look, there's no money. I'm like, awesome, that is so great, and I really, like, appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm not your girl. I don't work for no budget right now. And I'm really polite about it, but what I have learned, unfortunately, is that people get their feelings hurt. And you can't help that. And, you know, it's their right. They can interpret it however they want. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying I won't work with them in the future. I'm just saying, hey, right now, I don't have time to give because I get X amount of offers. And it doesn't make sense for me to be like, hey, let me do your no-budget shoot that's no pay. And in doing so, I'm not going to have time, energy to do this other much better paid job.
Even to promote yourself, or to get work done that you need to get caught up on, you know, promote and do other films that you already are a part of. It doesn't mean you're just turning this down for another specific role. There comes down a time where it's like, can I actually give up, you know, 2 or 3 weeks of my life, plus all the promotion and stuff in the future, for a project that likely won't even get completed? I mean, like, that's really what it boils down to.
And for me, like, too, like, distribution is so important. You have to make a film that's not only is a really good and strong for me to spend my time on, but I want to do things that you guys can buy and see. You know, I've done, if you look at my IMDb, there's a lot of movies you guys will never see. So again, I have learned, like, a lot of the time people like to be like, oh, she's such a diva. And I'm like, no, I've seen no proof or nothing to indicate that you're going to be able to do what you say you are in a timely manner.
Right.
And I'm not your actor. And the other thing is, too, like, you should give that opportunity to somebody who's eager for that. There will be somebody who's so much better.
I was too. There was a time and place when I was that person, when I was considering, you know, pretty much any role, even if it wasn't going to get done, because I needed to be on set and I needed to learn process.
Absolutely.
And I needed to hone my craft, kind of thing. So yeah, to each their own. So how we actually met. Again, I was warned she was a diva, and that she was horrible, and she's a horrible person, and all these things.
So side note, I was told Heather Dorff is so sweet and really nice.
Which is funny, because I don't actually think I am. Well, it's not that I'm not sweet.
But keep in mind, like, coming from that, you had just started in the industry, and you were super good for work, and I'm sure, like, anytime anyone messaged you, you're like, sure, I'm interested. Well, absolutely, you know, versus, like, me to be like, no thanks.
Yeah, I've been doing this longer. I've now, you know, moved past, like, pre-student projects and everything. Either way, you know, females have always been sort of a conundrum for me, just because, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't play with Barbies. I played video games, kind of thing. I didn't wear dresses. I wore, like, Jinkos. You know, I was totally the opposite of her. I was not a cheerleader. I was sitting at, like, the weirdo table in high school. So
side note, cheerleaders in Canada still were not, like, super popular.
I know, here it's a little different, though.
It's not like in America. Let me just tell you.
I know.
Carry on.
But that being said, I was in pure fear for, like, so many reasons. I was like, oh my god, this girl's gonna hate me. I'm not going to know how to talk to her, and I have to spend a week with her. You know what I'm saying? Like a week, like with this person I've never met. We have to act in a film and do a good job.
And we were playing sister-in-laws.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's hard. Like, you get freaked out. Like, you know, I'm always willing to go above. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, how I feel about you as a person in life will not affect, actually, like, how I act towards you in a film. But not everyone's like that, and you never know. So I just didn't know. And then, you know, when they picked me up, they actually picked me up at the airport first, and we were getting Jess like 6 hours later, and they go, okay, we only have one room, and you have to share a bed with her. I'm like, what? I don't know this person, and everyone says she's mean, and I'm so awkward. Like, this is gonna be the worst possible. This is gonna be the worst week of my life, basically, is what I thought. But anyways, so we go to get her, and I am sitting there like, and then we go to get Jess, and keep in mind, like, and to this day, Jess still fights me on this. I am like the jean and t-shirt and some ugly ass Jesus sandals wearing, no makeup, hair in a bun at the top of my head. This bitch gets off the flight with her pink suitcase and her hair all up and done and fucking pink dress, like pink skirty dress. She's like the epitome of girly. Okay, and I am not. Okay, with rhinestone
sometimes I make you dress up.
Rhinestone encrusted laptop, like, fuck my actual life. I'm like, if there's someone I will probably not get along with, it's gonna be Jess. Anyways, we get, you know, I'm super out, we meet, we're in the car. I don't even know what happened.
I hugged you. I was like, oh my god, it's Heather.
I don't know where she hugs me, and she just, like, say my name, and, like, she knows who I am and stuff, which I was shocked, because she Googled, or Facebooked, like,
I Google everyone.
Good idea. We get in the car.
If you're going to be on set with somebody and you haven't met them, you should Google every single person involved.
You absolutely should.
You should know everything about them.
I don't do that, but you should.
I do that religiously. To the point where, like, I was just, like, on a panel this past weekend, and they were like, hey, who wants to we don't have a host for the panel. What do we want? And everyone's like, I don't know anything. I was like, I know everything about everyone on this panel.
Yeah, right.
Let me just do it. It's fine.
She's her mind, her ability to memorize things is nuts. And I can do scripts and stuff, but otherwise I like throw it all out the door otherwise. But anyways, so we get her, and basically what happens is what I will see happen every single time for the rest of our known lives together. We get in the car, and somehow we go from, like, hi, nice to meet you, to, like, gun control issues in Canada and here, and, like, our past, like, life experiences, and, like, we get into super deep political, social, economic issues. In this, like, hour-and-a-half drive from the airport to in this
middle of nowhere, Florida town.
The director is just listening to us, and we're just like, blah, 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 and bouncing ideas back and forth, and agreeing and then not agreeing on certain points, but agreeing on the major points. And it was just funny, because that's proceeded to be, again, at that time and now, how we work. Like, we were just in Missouri recently. Yeah. I can't remember what the fuck we were talking about. I don't know, it's just normal shit to me, but to everyone else, it's, like, fascinating, because we'll go from, like, talking about, like, getting drunk and, like, sliding across tables to, like, Jeremy's current, like, terrorist, like, threats, and, like, what's happening in the UK and what that means for the US, and the difference between border control, da-da-da-da. But, I mean, that's just what we do. We go from, like, funny, lighthearted subjects to very serious, you know, debates about, like, just any kind of issue you can think of. And sometimes we agree and sometimes we don't, and we're super passionate. Like, we'll yell at each other and shit, and everyone's all confused. Like, because we will absolutely argue to craziness with each other. I'm sure Byro was in the car yesterday, like, fuck my life. And at the end, like, we hug.
I think Byro gets it.
He does.
I really do. Byro's just like...
He just doesn't know what to say. He just sits back there quietly and lets us argue with each other. But either way,
I feel like it's like a ping pong match. He's just like...
Yeah. He's like, And, you know, the thing is, it isn't about, like, one of us winning. It's just about us, like, you know, putting our own views out there and, you know, trying to... At the end of the day, I think me and Jess both have the goal... This is why we get along. Because we're both realists.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
No, this is why we get along. We're very different. Like, I don't think you can meet two more different people.
True.
But morally, we are in line. Like, our general morals are in line. Like, you know, at the end of the day, we both agree that, like, the most important thing in life are you a good person? Are you a good person? Do you mean well? Okay, we can put up with that. Even if you're a total fuck up.
Insert name not mentioning here.
No, all kinds of names. There's like a list. But even if you're a total fuck up and you make one mistake after another, if you're not intentionally, maliciously out to hurt people, we'll put up with you. We will like you. We'll support you even though we know we shouldn't, that kind of thing. Morally, we are inclined to always appreciate and love those who are good-spirited, even if they do the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
There's that, and also because me and Jess also, unless you really Jada, I mean, you have to do something super, super shady, and I'm talking about bad, for us to actually, like, truly, like, really hold a grudge, and to be, like, consistently
I know what it is for me. Do you know what it is for you?
What do you mean?
What you have to do to, like, get me to hold a grudge.
I don't think there's a specific thing.
For me, it's like you have to affect my money. Try to sabotage a movie, which is like a baby to me. So I assume if I had kids, it would be the same kind of thing. If you try to like destroy a child,
Sure.
you try to destroy my movie. Or if you show allegiance to somebody who has done either of those
really,
first two.
really fucked you up. For me, it is just extreme betrayal. It's which all those
same kind of
fall in
thing,
line.
yeah.
It's extreme, like obvious, chosen betrayal. Like actually choosing, you know, this isn't quite right, and you are actually like really betraying me. For me, that's what it is. Like backstabby, hardcore betrayal. That's what will make me. And even then, like I'm still not, it's not like I'm gonna come after you. I'm not vindictive.
No.
I just remove you from my life.
I don't either. I don't, for the record,
no,
like I'm not that person either, because I believe the most valuable asset we have is time. So if I consider you to be a valuable person or somebody I don't want around me, the last thing I will ever give you is my time and energy, because I do believe more than money, that is what we have that is the most high in value.
Right.
100%.
Right. So, I mean, you know, it was a crazy experience.
But also, side note, upon that, and I did not know I was going to do this at the time, I knew that I really liked you. I knew that I liked your work, from what I could see. Because there wasn't a lot to be seen at that point.
That was really new.
I just knew, like, I liked your look, and I liked your personality, and from our exchange, so I had a different experience. I thought you were really sweet and really nice in all of our correspondence, but it wasn't like, when you're like, oh, well, I didn't believe her. I didn't have any reason to not believe her.
No, but you had to, well, understand context. When people look really good on film and camera,
but also,
and they're like, oh yeah,
you come from a world of like that designer stuff.
Sure.
I don't.
Sure.
But that being said, I just thought you were really nice and really sweet. But I had this movie I was working on, and I knew that we needed a brunette role, but I was like, let me see what she can do before I can mention it. Right. So I knew right along, like as soon as we were talking in the car on the hour and a half, I was like, okay, I adore this girl. She's great. But it wasn't until we were on set that I was completely blown away by how great she is. How great she is in her actual acting ability, and also just how great you are on camera, which are two very different things. I think they're both equally important. You have to be a really great actress, but the camera has to love you. And that doesn't mean you have to be beautiful, by the way. They're two very different things. There's a je ne sais quoi that the camera picks up, where you are either the focal point of a scene when you're on camera or you're not, and a lot of it has to just do with your natural everything about you. And I don't believe it. I personally don't believe it's something that you can control. I do think the je ne sais quoi is something you either have or you don't. And I think that a lot of people, like, you know, Steve Buscemi is a great example of somebody who's not textbook good looking, but he has that. When he is on screen, you have to watch him. You have to look at him. He draws you in. You're interested in him. So it's not about a physical beauty as it is that je ne sais quoi, that thing you can't put your finger on, and I felt you had it in spades. And there was a one scene where I had to rape you with a crowbar. Spoiler. But you were so great. And at the end of the scene, like, everybody else was so enamored with your performance that nobody could speak. And we were just kind of like waiting. Because we were like, is anyone going to call cut?
Are we done yet?
We're just going to hold and pause. I don't know what to do now. But nobody could speak because they were so blown away. And it was on that set that I was like, hey, look, I'm doing this little movie. At the time, I was only producing and co-writing it, called Truth or Dare, with the intention to act in it. But I was like, I really want you to read it. You know, do you think you would? And she agreed to read it. And that was like
the start.
The beginning.
The start. And you know what's funny is even a few months later, at the time she was dating someone who had family in Chicago, and she calls me up, she's like, listen, you do me a huge favor, can my person you've never met that I'm dating stay with you?
But he's harmless.
He is, but it was just so funny. You know what's funny though, because I got to know her so well on that set, it really wasn't a problem, and it became like a natural thing he'd do every few months. He'd stay with me to see his family and stuff that were in the city I was in, and eventually, you know, she convinced me to come out to LA and that sort of thing. So it's very interesting. I think the moral of the story for us is, and this is true with me, but I know a lot of people don't do this. And this is about everything. I feel like this is a moral of the story for life. You cannot simply take things at face value. And my parents have taught me that my whole life. Just because someone says something is true, doesn't make it true. You need to look into it yourself and form your own opinions. That being said, you also need to be willing to form your own opinions and then be proven wrong and change your opinions as well, which is something I do as well. But more importantly, more than anything, don't form an opinion of someone without actually taking the time to get to know them and giving them a chance. More majorly, like 95% of the time in the street, there's that small 5%, you know, where there's unique circumstances, like I said, if it's like for a friend and that kind of thing. But majorly, you know, you do really need to, be investigative when it comes to people's opinions.
Now, I will say, if I hear 3 to 5 personal opinions with specific details about, like, this is what this person did to me, then what I personally do is I proceed with caution for a year.
Proceed with
because I think that, like, again, too, a lot of the time, like, you don't have to be friends with everyone today. That's how I live my life. If anybody, like, if I hear 3 different stories, still, they need to not stem from the same source.
Right.
3 different stories from 3 different people, first-hand stories about how this person stole from me, ripped me off.
But still, keep in mind though, even with that, when you first met them, it's not like you'd treat them like absolute dog shit. You'd be professional, you'd probably keep a distance, but you'd still be polite and professional, right? The problem is a lot of people take other people's word and then treat other people like shit and also spread those rumors without first-hand accounts. I am totally willing to listen to your first-hand account. What I don't want is you spreading second-hand accounts that you know nothing about.
Correct.
That's not fair. It's not fair to anyone. If you weren't there, you cannot spread those accounts as first-hand accounts, especially.
It should come under the guise of, this is what someone said.
This is what I heard. This is what someone said, but I don't really know. But this is what someone I trusted said. It's even worse when you're spreading first-hand accounts from someone else that you barely fucking know. I don't know this person. This isn't even a friend of mine. This is fucking someone I met at a party.
But a lot of the time, it's like a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah, like
which is what it was to that woman. That woman had never worked with me.
It was not a real thing. No. But keep in mind, like, had I listened to everyone else and just treated her like shit or something, I would have never gotten to know her.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have been able to. I would have won you over on the bed.
Shut the fuck up. No.
I would have been so chill. You would have been like, this chick's awesome.
You know what's funny is usually I need sleep. I like really need sleep. And we ended up like every night after filming talking for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I'm like, I have to go to bed. Like I actually have to go to bed. I would go to bed and this bitch would be up for an hour after me. And then like 3 hours into sleep, I'd wake up and she'd still be up like on the phone talking to someone. I'm like, when does this girl...
We gotta hustle harder, work.
I heard her once in dead of sleep. She got a call from someone in another country. I'd have like a business call with her at like 6 a.m. She'd only, obviously at this point, been sleeping 2 hours. She answered the phone like she was wide awake. Like everything was fine. I was like, this bitch is crazy.
Sleeping Jessica lies. By the way, she lies. If you're ever like, are you awake? I will tell you that in all truth. Half the time I'm lying.
It's true.
Because Sleeping Jessica does not understand
reality. I know when she's actually... I know her well enough to know, like, she's a night owl for one. So I already know better to call her before 10 or 11 a.m. I mean, even then, that's a fucking crapshoot.
I'm usually up at, like, here's the thing. I like 3 hours with my coffee before I'm, like,
exactly.
Talking.
That's
before I'm, like, you should
I'll call
talk
her at 11, and she might be awake, but she's not going to be comprehensive until, like, 1.
I'm not, like, I'm still with my coffee. I woke up at 10. Like,
I'm the same way.
I went to bed at, like,
I need
4.
time to wake up. I'm not.
Well, it's like, you know, like, we have our routines, which goes away on set, which is interesting.
It's so like, funny
because you're like high on the set.
I think it's something about that. Work is a little bit different for me, especially not work though. Work I'm passionate about will drive me to be different than I normally am and put more effort than I normally would. But just daily life to life shit, nah. I wake up at like 9:30, 10 a.m. I'm like actually moving by like 1, like actually like doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm like moving because I immediately, like, the first thing I do is I go to the bathroom, I clean my face, I put on lotion, I make coffee, and then I walk my dog.
Dealing with
within the first 10 minutes of waking up.
Talking to people.
Yeah, like I don't want to have to deal with shit.
Yeah,
I like just delete all like the useless emails and like anything important I will get there.
Exactly. I wait till I've been up for a few hours. It's a vape.
I feel like that's gonna be like our new tagline. It's a vape.
It's a vape.
It's a vape.
Okay.
It's a vape, I swear.
Anyways, guys, that's how we met. We've now officially video documented it, so if anyone has questions they can ask. Let us know how you met your best friend or someone who's like changed your life or someone who's consistently a part of your life, whoever they might be.
Or just be the narcissistic one. How'd you meet us?
Yeah. That too. How'd you meet us? How'd you get to know us? Even if you haven't met us in life, how'd you hear about us? How'd you find out about us? Why are you here? Why are you watching this? We want to know.
Why not? Anyway, thank you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button down below and also subscribe. And please do take a moment to check out our Patreon. Our Patreon is what enables us to do what we love, which is bringing these videos to you. So if you want to see more content, then please do consider joining. We do a bunch of giveaways. We give away signed swag. We hang out in our Google Hangouts for our Patreon peeps. Join us there. It's a lot of fun. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for checking out Scream Queen Stream. We hope you loved it as much as we do.
If you want to see more of our videos, check out our YouTube page. And while you're there, how about you subscribe? You want to see more? Just tweet us. Find us on Facebook. Join in on the fun.
And most importantly, if you really want to join us on this crazy ride, check out our Patreon page and become a patron for amazing, awesome perks that we give out monthly.
As well as early access to all of our videos.
Free giveaways.
And a whole lot more fun shit.
So check it out.
We'll see you there.
Stay bloody.
You stole my tagline.
I did.
You're a horrible friend.